Welcome to Panther Games. If you're listening on audio platforms such as Apple Podcasts and Spotify, links are in the bio below.
Feel free to leave a review and let us know what you guys thought, and if there's any ways we can improve, or if there's anything you guys just want to hear more of. Enjoy the episode, guys.
Thanks. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Panther Talks. This is the
Hello.
27th episode.
Yeah, we're moving along rightly.
I've just returned from my holiday. Fresh as a spring chicken, or as I'd like to put it, completely and utterly incompetent at remembering things.
Sounds like normal, to be honest.
Yeah, it does. For some reason, our Discord logos have switched back to the original sites again, so it'll probably change before the end of this video and go back. But yeah, it does that sometimes. Don't worry too much about it. It's weird.
They really don't like you, do they?
No. So I basically just have to keep ticking a little box, and it'll go from one side to the other. It's so dumb.
Lovely.
Tell you what though, do you remember how when you were over, you complained about my DPI speed?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I've come back after not using a computer for a full 7 days, coming back to this is just like, no, that feels weird.
Bro, honestly, I didn't realize that I played on such a low sense. Like, that's crazy.
You gotta think, I have such limited space as well in
Yeah.
which to move. So having such a high DPI is useful for me, but for you, it's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
But we have a interesting week planned. I say planned. It's the complete opposite of planned. We never plan anything. We just do it. That's how we work.
Yep.
But considering last week's episode was done on a Friday, edited overnight, and uploaded overnight to release on the Sunday, it did pretty well actually. It was awful in regards to content for us to speak about, to be brutally honest.
Yeah, not a whole lot happened, unfortunately, so it made it a bit of a tough week.
Oh, 100%. The articles were just horrific. I did find out that word I was struggling to say correctly the other week. Let me see if I can find it. The one about how gaming and social media killed the basic art of speaking. Apparently, the word where I said "ariskable professor," it was actually supposed to be "arissable professor." Never do that. Learned it because someone was trying to kind of go for me about it in one of the comments, so I corrected him as well.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm going to be wrong, we're both going to be wrong. You know this. But yeah, the TikToks have done pretty well throughout the week, to be honest. It's been quite reasonable. There were only 5 that community manager could actually get out of them this week because it was such a limited topic situation. But yeah, the TikToks did well. YouTube got 12 views, so it's definitely going up from the 24th episode when I screwed up. And the podcast itself is doing its usual at 3, so it's all going well there. But, as always, I've got some interesting topics to start with before we get on to what we discussed at the end of the last episode, where we actually have a topic we'd like to discuss further.
Yeah.
So I'll do the usual and share my screen so that you can suffer along with us.
Yep. Sounds like fun.
Oh, and it's always fun until Forbes gets brought out, in which case, never fun. But we'll see. I've not read through this article, so it could be interesting. You'd thought I'd have learned after last week, but here we are. Unleashing the power of women in the billion-dollar mobile gaming sector. This intrigued me mainly because we all know that mobile games have got a lot of money behind them. The issue is...
it's a certain amount.
Yeah.
I don't think people understand, like, how crazy mobile games are for money, dude.
Oh, insane. I mean, I picked up a very basic game the other day on my phone because I was away from any computer. So, you know, good fun. Nothing to play. And I came across a game from years ago called Doodle God. If anyone remembers that, you basically combine elements to get more elements to combine them, continuing. And it literally says on it, if you purchase anything from our app store, we will remove ads. The cheapest purchase is 89 pence. So I did that and immediately no more ads for the rest of that game. I'm happy now. But you come across most games, it's like, yeah, if you want to get rid of adverts, pay a fiver. Oh wait, you want to do this? That's going to cost you X amount of gems. Oh, how much are those gems? Well, let's say £5, or we'll give you about 200 gems.
A lot of games these days, you don't even get the option to remove ads.
Yeah, that's becoming a newer issue, isn't it? It's fucking horrific as well. But yeah, the mobile games industry is pretty carnivorous, to be honest. It's just horrific, and I can't really call it a gaming sector because it's not really got enough there to be considered full
Well,
gaming. It's
there's some games that are actually like fairly good on mobile.
all right.
And you get quite a few that are like fairly in depth. But what I see 90% of the time on the market isn't a game; it's an advertising simulator. So basically, as you're playing, you're just hit hard with so many ads, just constantly. So no matter what you're doing or how much time you're putting into the game, anything like that, you're just always gonna have ads.
I think I said this in one of the earlier episodes, but do you remember the scene from Ready Player One? How much of the screen we can fill up with adverts
Yeah.
before it induces a what was it now? A stroke. That's what I imagine mobile games are going to end up as.
There's some of them as well. Some mobile games get made. They could be like decent little time killer games. So you just sit and play through for a little bit, and then always just pick it up whenever you were bored for a bit.
Yeah,
And but what they do is on every single time you complete one of those levels, you get an ad, like
yeah.
a 30-second unskippable ad.
I've been playing a little puzzle game myself recently. I like to keep my mind active when I'm away from my games and stuff. So I've picked up like a few of those. You have to click blocks to move them in directions, and like they get bigger and bigger as you go along. So you've got to move so many blocks in different directions before you can move them, the ones at the start, so on and so forth. And they're puzzling, quite decent for that. The issue is they start randomly after like a minute or so. They'll add a golden block in there. Now you've got to click that golden block, which will give you some coins, but it'll also give you an advert every time you click one.
Yeah, that's another thing in terms of what you were just saying there. Like, there's also like a constant thing where you just like watch an ad for stuff as well.
Yeah,
And it's like just another way for them to get more ad revenue.
it's a horrifically vicious market, but it brings in a lot of money, and that is the truth of
It,
it.
it is a really like brutal market, man.
Oh yeah,
Some games you get hit with so many ads, like half like imagine you're playing on just a small phone, which nowadays isn't quite as common. You know, typically people use either a tablet or iPad or like
oh yeah,
a large phone to game off of, and you can have a sizable chunk of your screen is ads.
oh yeah. It's just
Plus,
horrific.
then you get like forced ads. You get options to watch more ads. You get notifications to pop up that cover your whole screen that you have to X out of that are
Yep.
like you can you can um you can get this from watching that. It's just so much stuff.
Yeah, and
And then the perishables as well in the store on top of all that is absolutely absurd.
that's what I'm about to say. And then on top of that, that's before you've even got to the idea of microtransactions and premium currencies. any of the
Yeah.
extra shit. It's an insane market, and there's no
And
wonder so many people are
we were
really into
talking
it.
about it when we were talking about Diablo 4, in terms of like season passes.
Oh yeah.
They're massive in mobile games as well.
Oh, 100% they are. They saw Fortnite do an amazing job with it and went, that's our idea now.
Yeah.
But let's see what this article's got to say, shall we? The mobile games market continues to grow at speed. Figures from Statista indicate that revenue in this sector is projected to reach $286 billion by
Oh
2023.
my god.
The data firm also indicates that the number of users is expected to reach 2.3 billion by 2027.
It's
That's
crazy,
just
man.
mental.
And that's for mobile.
Yeah,
Like, you thought numbers were bad for like when it came to console or PC gaming, and that's what you're getting for mobile. Because
exactly.
it's so easy and convenient to do is the problem.
Yeah, everyone's got a phone.
So
Well,
it just makes
apart
it
from one
so
guy I
easy to
know.
get away with it as well.
Oh, definitely.
You do it for such a what seems like such a small price, but then you can ask for that small price as many times as you want and get it from millions and apparently at this rate billions of people.
Oh, 100%. It's terrifying how easy it is. And there's kids that spend thousands on the parents' credit cards and stuff. I'm sure elderly people probably have a similar issue at times, but we just don't have the stats for that. That's just a guess, to be honest. But the thing is, it is kind of at one time, if we saw a game with microtransactions in it, we'd go, fuck that, move on. That was at one
See,
time.
it's like your RPG kind of games these days. Although now you have to pay to progress in a lot of them.
Yeah,
But how they used to be, it's like how they used to be. You know, you could play a game and progress in the game, but you didn't need to purchase anything. You could, if you wanted to speed things up or to get some extra stuff or
yeah,
anything like that. Whereas now, you're having to pay just to get rid of the ads, so you can play the game for 30 seconds without being spammed by ads.
yeah. But that's the thing. At one time a day, this wasn't like a major practice, and then it slowly became common practice in mobile games. So at that point, we all just went, all right, whatever. And that's now what we expect of mobile games. It does kind of worry me to think that over time, and we've already seen it with microtransaction slash premium currency in bigger games coming in. How long until that is just an accepted practice is a worry of mine. So, well, let's see what else this has got to say, because that's already a worrying statistic.
Those numbers are still just sort of going around my head. I'm sort of thinking to myself, that's a crazy amount,
Oh yeah,
both in
this
terms
is
of money and players. That's madness.
100%. I mean, you gotta think there's what 8 billion people on the planet currently. By 2027, you're probably talking 8.5, 9 billion, probably just reaching 10 at worst case, and no wonder there's gonna be that many people. You're talking then a 20% of the population playing on mobile games. It's just crazy. But it's so accessible, so easy, and it's a lot cheaper for those people who don't have access to PCs, things like that.
Yeah, and that's the biggest problem right there. What you just said, it's too easy, man. It's too easy. I see so many games like how in PC where we see all these like game developers like indie game making indie games and like asking for Patreon. It's not necessary, but asking for like Patreon or like GoFundMe sort of things,
Oh yeah,
and people have the option. They're not forced to. But see the amount of games that you see getting made that they basically just put a game up that basically isn't a game and then just spam it with ads and microtransaction options and stuff like that.
yeah, exactly.
It's ridiculous. See, and mobile games used to be really fun,
Used to be.
and they were great. Most of them, anyway. You could easily find one that
Mm.
was fun.
Yeah,
Not
one
have
time a day.
to, yeah, not have to spend days and weeks of testing games to see if it's actually going to spam you with ads or if it's going to actually be fun or if you get this stage where you just simply can't progress anymore and have to pay to play.
Yeah, no, exactly. Right, let's see what else this has got to say, shall we? This is an industry with everything to play for, and this is the year for female players not just to level up, but perhaps even reach the top score. Whilst many will perceive the archetypical gamer to be a younger male, this hyper-growth sector demonstrates the most radical gender rebalancing of any global industry. Renowned female gaming stars like Guinness World Record holder Sasha Hoston and UK-based influencer Charlie Hodson are commanding substantial fees in tournaments. Game studios led by women including Nord Current and Glass Bottoms Games consistently outperform their male counterparts in terms of engagement and attracting new users. I just hope these. I'd need to actually look into what these games companies are and what they're producing. Let's have a quick look. Apparently, even though I just Control C'd it, it would. There we go. Node
Your
current.
Control C doesn't seem to like to work.
It doesn't, does it? Seen this a million times. Cooking Fever, Murder by Cho. These are games you see around a lot, and to be honest, that just looks like Link from Legend of Zelda.
Or is it
The
Lunk?
hell? But a lot of these are games in which you will get ads to hell and back. So yeah, it's that sort of industry in this one. But that's what we kind of expected when we were talking about that. And attracting new users, yeah. As long as you basically have those playable ads, which are now quite common, people are going to probably see, oh, that's fun, go over to it. Though we've now also hit a point where a lot of games, for some reason, advertise their games to be something they're not.
Yeah, false advertisement is another huge problem when it comes to mobile games. Like
That's just crap.
when you see a trailer for PC games, if it's not the game and they're just wanting to show a cutscene to like show like things in the game, it will typically say not actual gameplay footage,
Yeah.
and you can know from then like, oh, okay, well, it's gonna be something like this is the idea they have a base around, but okay. Whereas mobile games, they just like the amount of creativity and skills that gets put into some of these games for their cutscenes, and then you load up the game and it's just is about 0.1% of what you saw in the advertisement.
Yeah.
If they put any
Uh,
effort into the game that they had into the advertisement, they would probably actually have a half decent looking game.
I mean, one of the most common ones I've seen are, those where it's like a fish or something, and you got to go and basically you're level 1, you got to eat like a level. Sorry, you're level 5. You got to eat level 3 fish, then you become level 8, and so on and so forth. But then when you actually go to play that game, for example, I've done this once. You click install, you go to play it, and it's a Candy Crush ripoff.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what the hell am I doing?
That's another problem in the gaming market for mobile, dude. The amount of knockoff versions of games and like how there's just a sort of trend that ends up being followed. One kind of game gets created, and all of a sudden you see hundreds of renditions of that idea.
Battle Royale.
That that that's its own thing. I don't even want to talk about battle royales, man. They're so
Well,
boring.
it happened in the game in the mobile market as well, didn't it?
Yep, just mobile versions of everything.
Too true. Oh well. Let's see. The catalyst behind this paradigm shift is the advent of mobile gaming, which allows users to play on smartphones and tablets, with billions of women now able to access gaming on the go. Mobile gaming plays a significant role in the industry's explosive growth. 2 in 5 people worldwide have engaged in mobile online gaming in 2023, and it is mobile gaming that has been impacted most significantly. In the UK, Mintel figures reveal that mobile gaming now accounts for 61% of the overall gaming market, a significant jump from the 36% in 2015. Nearly half of all mobile gamers are women, with 65% of women aged 10 to 65 participating in some way. The online gaming reach among female gamers is growing at an unprecedented rate of 33% annually, leading industry experts to anticipate a tipping point where women will dominate the gaming landscape within the next year. Fair enough. Got no issue with that whatsoever. Like I said, I think that they believe that if a woman dominates the gaming industry, or women do in general, that there's going to be some sort of uproar or issue. There really isn't. If nothing changes, cool. If things do, as long as it's for the better, we're happy. Simple as that. Gaming is no longer a hobby suited for only one gender. The rapid rise of mobile devices means gaming is with us wherever we go, making it easier for many more women to play. You don't need endless expensive kit, just your tablet or phone. Like I said, I still don't like this idea that it was ever only suited for one gender. Don't get me
I don't
wrong.
really get how it ever was that way.
No, it wasn't. It was just basically as an offensive stereotype to guys. If you basically played World of Warcraft, for example, there would be a dig there. That was about it. Just shit like that. Just, oh yeah, you're a sweaty gamer. Okay, cool. But that's just how it was. And also, female gamers are apparently not part of the demographic. Look at Twitch for 5 minutes.
That's a dark road to go down.
I'm not wrong though.
I'm sure.
As female gamers, oh bloody hell, this is a long article. Never mind. Fucking hell. As female gamers emerge as a powerful force, gaming companies must swiftly adapt to embrace this new and highly valuable demographic. Industry leaders recognise that agile companies who do cater to female gamers will outpace legacy businesses with a sole focus on male players. Is there one? I mean, from what I knew, they were just kind of focusing on what they were. Like, if it was a war game, they would focus on showing war. You know, if it's a shooter, they're going to focus on the guns, the combat, shit like that. Combat and war isn't strictly male. It's not strictly female either. It's for both sides. If you enjoy that, cool, go for it.
Well, I'll be honest, seeing as we were on the topic of mobile gaming, if you see a lot of how quite a lot of mobile games now are made, and the content, we'll say, within, you can sort of see this catering more towards the male audience.
Actually, it's interesting now that you've made that point. Talking about how games that basically aren't solely focused at men. But if you look at these, there's quite a few here that are clearly focused towards the males and the females, if we're talking stereotypical like they are. It's very clear which one's based at which. And it's kind of a bit weird that that was mentioned, considering that's the people that, made the statement. It's interesting though. Oh god. Data from Meta, formerly Facebook, a leading player in the sector, shows that female members of gaming groups are 6 times more likely, more active than their male counterparts. This heightened activity is mirrored in the gameplay itself. The other thing I would like to point at that, Meta, if you're on about gaming groups and being more active, I'll be honest, this might be a stereotype, but I don't know many guys who game who really access social media much other than Discord and Steam. That could just be me, but most people I speak to, I get messages on Messenger, and that's about it. I don't see them posting on Facebook very often.
Yeah, I don't. I don't use Facebook for anything, literally anything other than messaging people. I don't browse it. I don't post on it. Not really anything, to be honest.
Yeah, I do feel as though they've missed their point in that regard. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm interested in this a little bit because I've seen RPGs, MOBAs. So, this year alone, 20 games have been released featuring lesbian, trans, and pansexual characters, further deviating from the traditional superhero style characters favoured by male gamers. Do we favour those? Because
I
I'll be
favor the
honest,
ones that I can farm in games, you know?
I'll be brutally honest, mate. Last time I checked, most characters I play in games nowadays, are like in DayZ and things like that, they're just silent blobs. You kind of mold them into what you want. They're nothing.
Silent blobs.
Well, they are. The only thing you ever hear from them is, "Ah, I hurt myself." Okay.
True.
Female-focused firms are expanding the range of genres, including role-playing games, complex strategy games, and multiplayer online battle arenas, MOBAs, thereby redefining what a female game looks like. There is no real difference, in my opinion. You know, just to pull this up, a girl could play any of the games I have here, and I could play any of the games I have here. They're multi-gendered. Their gender does not matter in regards to it. It's up to you. Anyone could play any of these games. Is what I'm saying.
How things are nowadays as well. Like what you like playing is literally just up to you.
Yeah.
Like there's not in my for me personally, I don't really think there's anything. I don't think anything really goes at us at a male or female audience or anything of the sorts.
Not
It's all
typically.
you're either gonna like this game or you're not.
Hmm. Exactly. And
I
that.
prefer to look at a game. It's made for like any sort of just to be a game.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's there for enjoyment. If you get enjoyment out of that game, good. If you don't, you don't. You move on. Same with everyone. We all do it.
And if you
So
like, it's just not a good idea either because if you're making a game that's tailored for a specific audience, then you're missing half your audience.
yeah, you're missing a large chunk of what could possibly be got. Don't get me wrong. Typical audiencing, audience demographics. It's how most companies work. You'll advertise to a specific audience, so within a certain age range, within a certain possible gender dependent, so on and so forth. You'll basically nail down your characteristics. Now, nowadays, a lot of games companies use the demographic of between age range, and they don't typically fill in a gender box because it's nothing to do with gender, it's just age range. More people are likely to play the games that they're creating within that age range. Try and get as many people as you can from that age range, and you're golden. But just to show it doesn't work, I think it's Grandma Shirley on YouTube, who sits and plays Elder Scrolls Skyrim, and is going to be in the Elder Scrolls 6.
Damn, that's crazy.
You tell me that woman is. She's outside of the age range that Bethesda aimed for, but no one's not happy that she's a part of it.
Yeah.
Simple as that. But yeah, age ranges and everything aside, that's an interesting situation that's going ahead. And I'm still just baffled by the bloody statistics of mobile games. That's thrown me for a loop.
Yeah, it is. It is something crazy to think about, and just that the numbers have reached that high. But
It is
unfortunately,
indeed.
I don't see it the way they work and the methods they use. I don't really see that changing anytime soon.
Neither do I, to be honest, mate. Right, got another one here. How Microsoft's Activision Blizzard win could dramatically alter the gaming industry. Microsoft's win against the Federal Trade Commission in its attempt to block its $69 billion purchase of Activision of Call of Duty maker Activision Blizzard could clear the way for the company to move forward with the largest deal in gaming history. While the FTC is appealing, U.S. District Judge Jacqueline Scott Corey's ruling to the Ninth Circuit Court, the momentum is increasingly moving in Microsoft's favour. And if the acquisition moves forward, Microsoft could dramatically alter the landscape of the gaming industry, ranging from the home console market to mobile gaming and the still nascent cloud gaming industry. I think it's very clear now that Microsoft as a company views gaming as a really important part of what the company does overall. IDC Research Director of AR and VR and Gaming at IDC told Yahoo Finance. At a higher level for Microsoft, getting a lot more content from Activision Blizzard is a game changer. The thing is, we already knew about this. If this was to go through, it would be a massive impact for Microsoft. It'll do a lot of good things for them. Whether it goes ahead, though, is the big question. Yeah, they've got through this part. Will they continue? Will they get it through in the UK? Those are the big questions that we need answering. And I think it's going to be a bit before we see any movement on them. But I thought I'd just cover the fact that, yes, they did successfully bypass the FTC. The FTC is now appealing that. So it could change, but for now, that's the news on that one. So yeah, I'm trying to keep away from the FTC stuff at the moment until we get more news. Though I thought I'd bring some bad news into the industry.
Oh
Uh,
no, not more.
I'm sorry, Will.
Every time, man. Causes me so much pain.
So I'm told. I was not prepared for what we came across when treating gaming disorders. Professor Henrietta Bowden-Jones. Most of our patients are young, and the desperation of families trying to address the disruption to their child's life is extreme. More than 850 people referred to clinic for video game addicts. Those are other articles. The National Centre for Gaming Disorders, the first NHS clinic designed to treat gaming disorder, saw its first patient in early 2020, but I had been aware of the need for this type of treatment for several years prior to its opening. The clinic was part of the much lauded 2019 NHS long-term plan, which has only recently further expanded its network of gambling treatment clinics to a total of 15, reaching its planned national coverage a year ahead of plan. Whew. When gaming was not a disorder treated by the NHS, I would frequently, as director of National Problem Gambling Clinic, be contacted by relatives of young gamers who were desperate for help. I increasingly began to feel that the young people who were spending money on gaming products in a compulsive and destructive manner also needed our help. So, this gaming disorder that they've all been talking about, it's not an addiction to games, it's an addiction to spending money on games. The gambling side of it.
We had a brief conversation about that. Was it last episode? I think,
Could have been.
or I know we definitely did in one episode where we had a short conversation. It might have actually been back in the Diablo video about like the loot cases and the phase
Yes,
Call
it
of Duty
was.
went through with it.
It
So
was indeed.
We already partially covered that, but like that was a bad time in gaming,
Yeah.
and I remember talk of a lot of games getting banned in certain countries
Oh yeah. EA.
because the cases you could buy were considered gambling, and there were like kids buying them like crazy.
Yeah. EA got took to the Houses of Parliament in the UK to discuss their Battlefront 2 loot cases, and that was an interesting time. They no longer have them in those degrees anymore either. They corrected their bullshit, which is good.
I only remember Call of Duty off the top of my head being one of the worst ones because like there were actually pay to win items because you could get weapons that were like better than like the standard gun and like just 100 times used, so people
Oh
wanted
yeah,
them. So there would be just hundreds upon thousands spent.
it's mental.
I mean, there's still games out there that do it
Oh
that
yeah,
that still have it going, like Apex for one.
of course there are, but a lot of loot boxes nowadays seem to be how can I put it? They're more based around the idea that it's cosmetic.
Yeah,
Though I am surprised that Valve haven't got into any trouble due to their loot cases and the actual price worth for a skin.
hmm.
It's like an 18-year-old. I read an article about this just 2 days back. An 18-year-old who played CS:GO for 30 hours ended up unboxing a $160,000 knife.
What?
Yeah, $169,000, I think it were.
But what are you gonna do with that though? No one's gonna buy it.
Let me just check. Unbox. There it is. Kid makes $169,000 from CSGO after playing for just 3 days thanks to this rare skin.
See, when it comes to skins though in games, so for example, with Rust again, um, the value of a skin once it's gone from the shop, the value of a skin is determined solely by the community market, basically.
That's the big thing. It's all community based.
So what I'm curious about, right? If this guy's supposedly made 169K from this, where did he get the money from? No one's gonna buy that.
That's the thing. You know how on Steam we've got the community market where you can earn money for your Steam account?
I'm guessing third-party website.
Correct.
That's crazy.
There are so many of these. Let's just open up the first one. There you go.
I mean, I see so many like a lot of servers and a lot of actually creators for Rust will be sponsored by websites for Rust where you can gamble your skins.
Yeah, same concept, mate.
Yeah, I can
It's
imagine.
sad. Alright. We have now been operating for just over 3 years and have had about 800 referrals to a clinic that was expected to see no more than 50 patients a year and was funded accordingly by the NHS. The desperation of the families trying to address the disruption that gaming harms have had on the children is extreme. I was not prepared for what we came across, with violence within the home and refusal to go to school being prominent.
You see,
The,
depending on the age of your child, if that's the issues you're having, I feel like at some point the parent is to blame here.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
intrigued to
I
see
know
the
this can be
reasons.
sort of
this can create a sort of predicament in terms of like when we were talking about how much time you spend gaming is bad,
Mm.
because that could also fall on the parent. But when you're younger, that is like that's you can tell your kid to get off of the Xbox, PlayStation, computer, whatever they're on.
Oh yeah.
You can remove their privileges from the devices. That's entirely up to you. But when it comes to money, being the fact that our world is solely based around money,
That is the truth.
like when they start spending absurd amounts of that, something's got to change.
Too true.
And they can't. They don't. They like if they're younger as well. They can't just pull money out of nowhere.
No, exactly.
You've ways of stopping them from getting online and spending money, and it's crazy that people just let their kids get to that stage.
Mm. Let's see. The pattern of harm often starts with a change of circumstance. It may be a move between schools or a change of home and therefore a geographical distancing from real life friends. It may be a fragmentation of the family or significant issues with peers, such as bullying that leads a young person to seek peers online. I'll be honest, personally, for me, I was quite bullied. I came online, and that's where I started my life. Well, kind of continued it, so to speak. Nowadays, though, I will tell anyone to fuck off. I don't really give a damn. I've kind of grown, to be honest, as a person due to what I went through. That's just the way it went for me. But
Yeah, you do also just
it's
sort of get to a
difficult.
stage where you don't care anymore. There's no point.
We're not talking from experience, we swear.
No, definitely not.
Most of our patients are young and male, often around the ages of 16 or 17. They have been high achievers in academic pursuits or sports, then something happens to disrupt this successful journey. Gradually, the child's online life becomes a support structure, something to make a real life easier to bear. The pull away from school, friends, and family members can be extreme, and we have met many who no longer eat meals with parents nor pursue activities they used to enjoy together. The no longer eating meals with my parents, I did stop that for a while, and then I just started again. You find reasons to start and stop, and the other thing is, without knowing what their home life is like, you never know. That's the thing, there are other issues to take into consideration, and we can't go through them all simultaneously, sadly. There's so many different reasons for why things happen.
I mean,
Uh,
honestly,
yeah,
when it comes to online, and just referring to some of the things you said about how your experience went for it,
yeah.
sometimes there's not even a reason. People just are the way that they are, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
sucks. There's no reason behind it. It's just who they are, and it honestly just can ruin a lot of experiences for a lot of people, and can lead to much more drastic stuff as well, which we've obviously seen from like reports and studies that have been done, and unfortunately from events that have happened with certain people
Oh, 100%.
who've been like bullied to the point of no return sort of situation.
Yeah,
That's horrible to see, but unfortunately that's literally just how people are sometimes.
sadly so. And that is just the case of it. Gradually, the child's online life becomes sorry. Gradually, the child's online life becomes a support structure, something to make real life easy to bear. That's a bit I've already read. I'm a moron. The cycle of separation leads to isolation, arguments at home, and eventually low mood and anger as parental intervention often starts with the removal of devices because the young people are unable to meet the home rules around gaming hours. See, the isolation happens at times. It's difficult to pin a reason entirely. People isolate themselves for many reasons, and sometimes it's not even by choice. It's sad, it's the truth of it, but let's get into too much. Arguments at home, if you get into that stage, you're looking for a way to just avoid it. And if you're already in a sad place, a bad place, or a bad mood, or anything like that, you're going to want to take yourself out of it. Losing this coping structure is difficult to add on top of it. Because when you're sad and down already, the last thing you need is to lose the one thing that's kind of putting you into a better mood set and a mindset. But at the same time, when that's the entire reason behind it, it's kind of a difficult balance. I have met parents whose young children ran away from home in the middle of the night to find Wi-Fi on the steps of random homes when their own internet connection was switched off by parents. Jesus, okay. That's,
That's a situation that's got way out of hand if that's what's happening.
yeah, 100%. I've met children who felt they would rather be dead than not game and said to their parents, doors, objects, possessions, things get broken in fits of rage. Sometimes people get hurt. Possibly the most surprising aspect is the amount of involvement from the police to these homes after a domestic violence issue. That's brutal. The young age of these children also makes it hard to hear these stories. Another surprise has been the grateful and repeated accounts from parents of teachers, head teachers, and support workers trying to help these young gamers return to their past happy selves, to return to school to reconnect with their peers. What has been difficult for us has been seeing how hard it has been for some of these families to access young people's NHS mental health help in time when needed. I will just state ahead of time, to be honest, for the rest of this pretty much, the NHS system for mental health for people young, for people old, it's horrific. It just really is. Here we are. When I founded the clinic, I thought all the children may be playing a small selection of games, but this is not the case. At the last count, about 60 different games were being played. By no means do all our patients spend money on gaming. Many don't and would find the expenditure to progress a game an insult to their abilities in relation to mastering it. I respect them. In that one sentence, anyways, I respect them for that. Completion and ability are key in this group. Almost no one has presented with both a gaming disorder and gambling disorder. There is a fundamental difference in the value people place on monetary rewards between our gambling patients and our young gamers. This we know may be due to age alone, and only good longitudinal studies will be able to tell us exactly what happens to a population of gamers in treatment 10 years later. How many will have developed gambling disorder? We know from research that the number will be higher than the general population due to shared biological vulnerabilities being triggered by gambling cues in the environment, such as gambling advertisement. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Women are increasingly coming forward for help. The oldest patient we have is a woman in her 70s.
Wow.
There you go.
That's crazy.
Going back to the first article, women, 70s, also gaming. Yeah.
The problem is though, like, if developers are gonna put this option to gamble for items, whether it's with real money, in-game items, anything like that, it's always gonna become a problem because gambling is always a problem, and it always will be because when you're gambling, because there's that such small chance of hope to get like an absurd amount of things or items or money or anything. That's what wants you to keep doing it, and when you're gambling, you get like so close to it as well that like constantly resparks the hope,
Yeah.
and that hope is dangerous.
Oh, 100%. You know, this reminds me though. This entire bit does remind me of a. It's not really a meme as of such, but it's something I've seen quite a lot, and I like the look of it, of what it stands for at least. But I do think it's probably not the best one to use as an example overall. But it was basically a comic strip about gaming. I'm just gonna see if I can find it out while we discuss this a bit further. Because I save it every time I bloody see it, like. Because, you know, I'm how I am and I just save everything. For some reason. I mean, you know that you sent, mate. Everything I have, I've saved so many times over, it's kind of mental. But it was basically just showing about his regular life, and then it got to the point where he played a game, and after all his day basically being put down for doing things that he shouldn't have been doing or he did in the wrong way, gaming said, "Well done, you're amazing," and that made him happy. It was just, it's such a small thing, but for a lot of people when they were first starting out gaming and things, that accomplishment when a lot of people looked down on them or thought they were rubbish at things, so on and so forth, it meant a lot. If that makes sense.
And that just goes to show, though, how important language can be and communication. It's just a simple couple of words, and that can completely turn around a person's view or mood or look on a game.
It can. It is just the truth of it. Yo, what? Best way to do this, because I am done with this article now. See if we can find it. Should probably use Google if I'm brutally honest. I've got more of a chance. But you never know, do you? I say you never know. Google, please. Thank you. Images, please. Right. I've seen it so many times on Facebook. That's the thing. Like I said, I don't use Facebook much, but I go on it and just scroll down for about 5 minutes and then fuck off. Oh, thanks, watch. Start speaking and my watch just turn around. No, I'm not sure what you meant.
I guess you're gonna have to explain to it what fuck off means, Roy.
I think I am. You know what? I'll come back to that. If I find it, I'll put it into the video and I'll send you a image of it.
You just paste it over when you run.
Yeah. National Gaming Addiction Clinic Director underestimated number of patients since opening. I actually think this is exactly what we've just been over.
Sounds like it, yeah.
16 to 17, yeah, it is. Right. Well, since that's the case, I'm going to just close that there. So, we have an actual topic outside of articles for this week.
So you claim.
Now, all I've said to Will is we have a topic. I've told him what the topic is, but once I start explaining it, hopefully we'll get somewhere with this. It'll be interesting. Because if Will doesn't know what it is, I get to go through it for the first time. Our topic for this our topic for this week is called asset flips. Now, an asset flip, have you ever been on Unity or the Unity engine?
Not really.
Right. So, you know yourself, assets, Unity is an engine for making games, so on and so forth. So you've got Unity, Unreal Engine, which is Epic's engine. And you've got quite a few different ways to do this.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to share my screen with you and reopen everything. This one here is the Unreal Engine store. This is what we call an asset store. Now, an asset store is basically where you can
Models
just
and stuff, right?
even worse, you can buy full segments of games. Now, that's fine in itself. For example, MMO kit, farming system. If you were bad at creating a certain segment of your game, to say a class creation
buy
name,
it.
yeah, you can buy it and you can just install it straight there for you and customize how it looks. Because the graphical user interface isn't great, but you can modify that to be however you want, and it explains how to use it. This is what people offer, and it's really useful. It does have its elements. Obviously, as you can imagine, it would be quite useful. Same with the farming, it's the exact same sort of thing. Manage plants by stats. You can probably recognize where some of these may have been used in some game systems that you've seen. But there's lots of little stuff like this that you'll see in quite a lot of games. For example, that. Actually,
That's the exact models.
yeah. You might have seen that watermelon one before. But
I
you
suppose
will...
though it sort of explains why you recognize certain textures or maybe certain items when you play a game and you recognize it from another game.
Exactly. Now, I want to just... I just want to type this in.
Where's this all leading to, Rory?
Well, you'll see.
This is what's interesting me. You've not really
So-
given me any information here.
I've basically just told you what an asset is and what an asset store is.
Yeah,
Now-
I know what assets are. I didn't know there was actually a whole store for them though.
Oh, yeah. Same for Unity.
Right.
Now, that comes into play when you come onto the Steam store. Now, we know ourselves there's quite a lot of throwaway games. Really, really crappy games. Trying to think of one now. If I just type in horror, just to pull up some of the basic horror games out there. Try and avoid any of the 18 plus ones, shall we say.
You mean the things that
Well-
I can't avoid when I search for VR games?
Yes, that's what I mean. Now, I watch a YouTuber called Sid Alpha on YouTube, and he's looked into quite a few of these. Callum Upton is another guy who's done similar. Now, what a asset flip is basically they will buy these assets, they'll turn them into a very quick game, and they'll throw it out with no story, no features, no nothing. And then they'll claim it's been worked on in early access, get a load of money, and they'll run away, never to work on it
Right.
again.
So you mean the common theme of games right now? How, everything's staying in alpha or beta version.
Where is it? Oh, I know I've got it here. There it is. Couldn't spell Reign. Reign of Kings. This company, Code Hatch, is quite common for doing this. As you can see, it's supposed to be fully released. It actually stopped during its development. The game has not been updated since... Ooh, it's been a long time, to be honest. But they do it a lot, as you can probably notice. None of their games have got very good reviews. I mean...
if it's not even a full game, then I think I might know why.
There's the first one. You better not abandon this. 2019. Last
I think
update
they
was probably a
abandoned it.
long time ago. Yeah. Now, companies like this, developers like this, will just buy some assets. They'll throw them into a very basic game concept, and they will release it. And it's not difficult to do this at all. There's another YouTuber I watch called Veilfisk, and he's kind of an offensive guy. just like torturing people with his games, to be brutally honest. But he really does. He gets his friends and just tortures them with terrible games. But he made his own asset flip. Cost him $400, I think it was. Using quite a lot of the very basic assets that are out there. Some free, some cost. All depends on what you want. But let's just try this search again. Because I know that on one of these there is a house that is used quite often. Actually, some of these may look familiar in some games as you go through. Usable light options, camera options, the blood on the paper in the exact same spots. These sort of things are so common. And it's really sad, to be honest. Because you just get all these assets so quickly, which is fine to an extent if you turn it into something different and unique. But most of them will just throw out the same crap every time. I think probably the best way to do this, to show it properly of how we can see something about it. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's look at the top sell on both marketplace. I think that's probably going to give the best understanding. If I can find out how to do it on Unity, because Unity is just
search for a blank product, and then you'll probably get filter options. Top right.
Oh yeah.
And then you can type in filter options.
Right. Let's do then. There's actually not much on there. Oh, that's a bit annoying.
Well, because it says something from max price is £200. Put the range from like 50 to 200 or something. I'm sure it's like a crazy price.
0 to 200, may as well.
The
Not yet
zero,
rated.
though,
Oh
it's
wait.
gonna be there.
Price high to low. Yeah, let's try that.
That's the other way, right?
Yeah, I'm
There you
dumb. Don't worry about it.
Oh,
Yeah. The prices can be insane.
some buildings is £200.
Yeah.
Ooh.
They can make a lot of money from this, mate. It is.
Jesus.
Look at that.
Footstep audio, £183.
Yep.
Oh.
Now, I'm going to try something a bit more. Right. I know that for about £70, you can get certain bits and bats, but some we might recognise. But it's kind of concerning because there's so many. Actually, Rust is built in Unity, isn't it?
They mustn't have the dynamic footstep audio again then.
No, that's Unreal.
Oh.
This is Unity.
They should take some pointers then.
But that's the big thing about it. Like, you can grab things such as textures or bone dynamics, depending on what you struggle with. If there's an element of game design that you genuinely cannot do, it's very understandable to just grab an asset. But when you make an entire game dedicated and based off of assets, that's not so
good. As a whole, it is a good idea because, you know, no one's perfect. They can't be good at every single thing in a game, and when it comes to game developing, considering it's a tough thing on its own, to have to be able to get everything perfect so the game actually comes out and is a good game with as few bugs as possible.
Come on, Rust, just get this.
Huh.
Sorry, you continue.
It is just a good idea for, especially for like the smaller groups where there's only a couple of people working on it. You know, chances are, there's going to be something that I'll come across where none of them can really just get it down to a T and have it work the way that they want. So you can come on here, have a look around, and see if there's something that suits.
Let's have a look. Because there should be some examples. Best-selling assets. Take a look. Yeah, allow them, that's fine. Dynamic Forest. Kind of looks a bit like, what was that game now? Where you're in
Green
the...
Hell?
Not Green Hell, but close. It was a horror game, actually. Blair Witch, something like that, where you're in the forest. Don't remember. But, give me a second. Video games with... What's it called now? You know when you're just trying to remember things at the exact moment, it's like, nope. But yeah, there are actually hundreds of different stores where you can get these things. As you've seen here, there's an entire marketplace alternatively to go to.
That's wild.
It's crazy, mate. The stuff you can find. But people will add these and remove them and change them around, so on and so forth. And there's some cool things. And they're really useful for people that want to stick them in as like a temporary, or maybe they purchased that because it's going to be good for them, so on and so forth. You don't really know, do you?
Yeah.
I've got an idea. Asset flip examples.
He's really trying here to find something. Oh, God.
Ah, here we are. Go to Reddit, of all places.
Well, they really talked about that one, didn't they? Jesus.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's a... I wouldn't say Gary's mod was, but it was kind of made on the same engine.
Garry's Mod is just full of assets. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want with them.
I think this is probably going to be the best way to do this. If you really want to know, there are a lot. Oh, that was a big one. Police 1013. Game dedicated.
100K asset flip.
Yeah, basically what they did. Actually, I looked into this for a long time. Looks good, doesn't it?
Oh, the motion blur. Ugh.
Yeah. Now, it looks like an interesting
Oh,
premise.
the camera
Yeah.
bomb.
This is the thing. This was in 2019. It was put on as an early access, basically, thing. It was getting constant donations on, I think it was GoFundMe, stuff like that. But, as you can see, it was pretty much just assets. And people found these assets. And that's kind of what destroyed any chance of that game ever releasing. Because it just kind of messed up. And it was sad, to be honest, because they really did fuck up. They lied to the community and just acted like overall dicks. As you can see, 4 years ago it was cancelled. The same year it had that new trailer. Oh, there's that Sid Alpha I was talking about earlier. But, yeah. Asset flips can have its positives. Well, sorry, assets can have the positives. Because small development teams or single devs can get help easily by just spending a bit of money, and they've paid for that. They can change the design of it, they can modify how it works, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I would say the majority of them that aren't looking to do what we're talking about have done. They'd be using it as framework.
Oh, 100%. But if you were to release a game dedicated just on assets, that's never going to work out well, and that's going to cause a lot of issues. This is the kind of the reason I wanted to discuss it, though. It became such a big thing in the PC market to just release these asset flips. And nowadays, we know about them because YouTube has brought them to attention. But a lot of people are trying to hide that nowadays because, let's be honest, you get caught, you're going to be in some trouble. But that was kind of what I wanted to just discuss. Asset flips, assets themselves have got a part in the industry, and I fully believe they should. Asset flipping should not be around, to be honest.
No, it's honestly just a dirty way to make money.
It is. And a lot of them do it in early access, GoFundMe's, so on and so forth. And it's a crap practice that really needs to be stopped in its tracks. If you want to see more about it, I do recommend looking at people like Big Fry, Sid Alpha, Callum Upton, people like that. They're quite informed on the topic, and they do quite a lot of good videos dealing with people who are quite horrific developers. I know Callum Upton and Sid Alpha do a lot in regards to dealing with these terrible developers. So much so, Sid Alpha's got a series called Dirty Devs. So, definitely do recommend checking those out. Probably fill you in a bit more if you're interested in the topic. But yeah, that's all I've really got to discuss for this week. Do you have anything you'd like to say, Will?
No, not that I can think of. I haven't really seen any new news or any new interesting games or anything, so.
No problem at all. Right, well, in that case, thank you all for watching. It's great to be back after a week off for me. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. If you have, feel free to leave a like, follow, subscribe, all the other stuff. And what letter are they leaving in the comments this week?
A.
A. A for alphabet.
First and foremost, the A.
Whatever letters you leave after that, it's fine. Just leave A first.
They will be disregarded.
To Will, maybe. Not to me. I do read.
Someday, Roy. Someday.
But no, thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
See you again, guys.